I'm making a beautiful curry chicken salad. For your chicken, I cooked mine in the crock pot, and the recipe calls for 2 breasts. I'm cutting my recipe in half because it's just going to be me eating it, and I don't want a lot of leftovers to sit around. So you put your chicken in your crock pot, you put chicken stock, chicken broth, about a teaspoon to a tablespoon of turmeric, depending how much turmeric you like. I like a lot, so I put a lot. And then salt and pepper, and you just, let that cook until it's done. In my crock pot on high, it took 2 hours. And then I shredded it up and left it in the fridge overnight because I was gonna make this the next morning. Your dressing calls for 1.5 cups of mayo. I'm putting 3/4 in because, again, I'm making half of a recipe. And this is my lacto fermented mayo. I made this yesterday, and it's really good. And if you want to try to eat healthier, you can try Greek yogurt in there. I've made it with Greek yogurt before, and it's really good. It adds a nice tang, but I made my mayo, homemade mayo, so it's really good. And then it's 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, so I would only actually use half of that since I'm making half the recipe. Curry powder. Depends on how much curry you like. I'm just going to use 2 teaspoons. And then I got my trusty salt and pepper grinder here. I prefer fresh ground. You can use whatever you have on hand. I'm just going to mix this up. Oh, this smells really good. I'm just going to pour this on my chicken. For your add-ins, 1 diced apple. Of course, I'm using half of an apple because I'm making half a batch. And then celery, and it calls for red onion. I don't like red onion, so I'm using spring onion from my garden and then fresh celery from my garden. That's why it looks so leafy, because it's from my garden. And then you want cashews. The recipe calls for 1/4 cup of cashews. I'm just going to use a little handful, and then it says to chop them. You can add as much or as little as you want. It's really up to you. And then it calls for golden raisins, but I'm going to use some dried cranberries. This is 1/3 cup for the recipe. Again, I'm just eyeballing it because I'm making half of a recipe, and it depends on how many you like in there, what flavors you like. And then I'm going to add some honey, just for a little extra sweetness. The recipe actually calls for 2 to 3 tablespoons. I'm not going to put that much in there. I'm probably going to put maybe about a tablespoon. And this is honey that I got from my neighbor and his bees, so thanks, neighbor. This is going to be really good. And I'm mixing it in this plastic container because this is what I'm going to store it in the fridge in. Oh yeah. And this is really pretty. And it smells amazing. And I've made this before, and it's been so, so good. And I was just craving it the other day, and I thought, I'll just make some. You can eat this on mini croissants. I actually made this for my tea party and put it on mini croissants, and it was really good. You can make a sandwich out of it. I'm gonna eat it with crackers. You could eat it with chips. Either way you eat it, I think you're really gonna like it.